What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here. UFC Woodley versus Burns took place tonight, Saturday, May 30th. Obviously, there is a whole lot of stuff going on in the world right now, going on in America. I want to tell you guys, stay safe, be kind to each other. There's a lot of wild stuff going on, but my thoughts are with everybody. Again, please stay safe if you're out protesting. Again, make sure you stay safe in doing that. But we did have Woodley versus Burns tonight. UFC returned to the, well, they didn't return. They did. They came back to the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, so it looks like that's where the fights will be in the foreseeable future, unless they decide to do Fight Island, which I don't know why the hell they would do at this point, unless it's like for a gimmick. But the show happened. Pretty solid show. I'll tell you what, I'm preferring 11 fight cards more than 13, 14, shit like that. That's for damn sure. But there were some fights that didn't end up happening. Kevin Holland did have to withdraw from his fight against Daniel Rodriguez, and he was replaced by Gabriel Green. That fight wasn't great. Daniel Rodriguez ended up beating Gabriel Green via unanimous decision. And really, on the prelims, that kind of slowed things down, so to speak. You had Chris Gutierrez show up and beat Vince Morales, just whipped his legs apart, man. And Gutierrez is now 3-0 in the UFC. He came in and did that Ultimate Fighter spot on the Heavy Hitters finale, and he got choked out. And you know, obviously that's not going to impress me a lot, but he has shown improvement since last March. He's just gotten better and better and better, and cutting less weight this time seems like it worked out for him. He just chewed away at Vince Morales' legs over and over again until they called an end to the fight. That was fantastic. I love it, man. Give me some good old UFC 3, EA Sports leg kick spamming, because that's what I'm all about. I'm also all about new blood emerging as well. Casey Kenny took on Luis Smolka. Now, Casey Kenny is now 3-1 in the UFC. He's fought everywhere from 135 to 140. He fought at flyweight in the past, but he took on a flyweight in Luis Smolka, and they competed at bantamweight. Now, the thing about Smolka is I thought he was going to come in and win this. He had been pretty hot of late outside of the loss to Matt Schnell. I thought that he stood a pretty good chance, but that's the thing, man. If you got to fight with Luis Smolka these days, you better come to fight, and you better be ready to finish him, or he's going to finish you. Because since Luis Smolka lost those 3 decisions in a row that left him out of the UFC at the end of 2017, he has just went for it. Every single fight he's had, for better or for worse, has been a finish. He has been finished with triangle chokes and like a guillotine choke like tonight, but he's also TKO'd people. He's snagged some arm bars and some guillotines. You just gotta go in there and fight this guy, and that's what Casey Kenny did, and that's not really something we've seen out of him much ever. Or okay, I don't want to say much ever, but since he showed up on Contender Series or LFA, I had seen him finish one guy. One guy. That's it. And he was able to do that tonight, and it was the most impressive I've seen him look in a while. And this is a guy who he was the LFA interim flyweight champion, interim bantamweight champion, and now here he is in the UFC doing it. And keep in mind, less than a year ago, he competed at 140 pounds as well. When I think he fought Manny Bermudez, I'm pretty sure, because Bermudez wasn't able to cut the weight safely, and yeah, I thought that was a really good showing on Kenny's behalf. I was excited about Brandon Royval against Tim Elliott. There's the element of the unknown a lot with some of these guys, and Tim Elliott, based on what I had seen in his most recent run, one, I didn't think he should be ranked. It's for lack of talent in the division, and he's 2-5 in his last 7. Like that ain't great, man. Now his fight against Smoka was really good. His win over Mark De La Rosa was really good, but now we're looking at, it's been over 2 years since he's won a fight. So I don't see him at that level anymore. And he just turned 33, but I look at Royval as the guy should take his place in the rankings as a result. Jamal Hill defeated Klidson Abreu with that knee to the body and punches. Oh boy, that was nice. Always like seeing new blood at light heavyweight. Stephen Michael in the live chat says Smoka went through substance abuse around then before he came back, didn't he? Yeah, he did. He talked about it with James Lynch on Fightful, I believe, in the past. Caitlin Chikagian defeated Antonina Shevchenko. Fresh off the loss to Valentina Shevchenko, Chikagian gets put against Antonina, and I like this. It was a bit of a storyline. I just think that unless you're Valentina, you're probably not going to beat Caitlin Chikagian. And I was shocked when I looked and I saw her as the betting underdog. What did anybody think that Antonina had shown? All due respect to her and her skill set. What did anybody think that she had shown that indicated that she was going to be able to beat Caitlin Chikagian? I don't know. And to me, you look back, and I know a lot of people will say, well, Sean, Chikagian lost to Jessica Ai, and she lost to Liz Carmouche. I think 70% of fans, and probably like 45% of media had that fight for Chikagian. The Carmouche fight, Carmouche won that fight. That shouldn't have been a split decision. I had Carmouche winning that fight as well. But, and also I thought Carmouche is every bit as good as Chikagian and was undervalued by the UFC. But obviously nothing that Chikagian showed indicated that she should fall down the rankings. She has been awesome, man. And the thing is, you could tell she was awesome. I think 6 years ago or so, she was fighting as an amateur, and I'm pretty sure that she was an outstanding amateur. And I even made contact with her. We were going to set up an interview because I mean, writing was on the wall there, man. She was 6-0, beating some good people. She beat like Vanessa Demopoulos and Gina Elliott locally around here, and those are some pretty big names. So 6 years ago, it was clear that she was going to be something, and she made it to the UFC in less than, I think it was about 2 years. And she just keeps doing it, man. Not the most exciting fighter in the world. You're never going to have anybody accuse her of being the most exciting fighter in the world, but still, great. McKenzie Dern, what can I say? Snagged a knee bar. Good on her. Made weight. It's her first win since having her child. It's her first win in a couple years. I got a lot of respect to her for coming back. Gosh, I think it was around 4 months after she had her child, she came back. And so I got a note from backstage that there was a scramble because she wanted to change her flag to Brazilian. I mean, it's a running joke that her accent has devolved and she now speaks basically broken English now after being born and raised in Phoenix. But hey, you know what? Whatever the hell she wants her flag to be, who cares? But McKenzie Dern wins again. She is now 3-1 in the UFC and makes weight. It's a strawweight fight, so hey, what can you say? She's made weight each time. I think 3 of her 4 fights in the UFC she's made weight on. So it seems like those issues may be behind her. Roosevelt Roberts' issues with Brock Weaver were not behind him. Roosevelt Roberts won this fight via rear naked choke. Brock Weaver got trolled by a fake account on social media, but there's all kinds of issues with Brock Weaver right now. I think the UFC probably ought to let him go. Between him missing weight and their accusations of dog fighting, and I mean, the guy didn't win. He didn't win. So they should probably just let him go. His one win in the UFC is by a legal knee. He won on Contender Series, fine. He had a DQ, I think, last year in Island fights. So of his last four fights, he's really won one of them of his own volition. I mean, he was getting beat by Joe Diesel Riggs in bare knuckle fighting a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure Charles Bennett, of all people, took him to the scorecards. Man, no. Just let him go. Roosevelt Roberts, though, he is now 4-1 in the UFC. He's fought in Bellator. He's fought on Dana White's Contender Series, King of the Cage. He's been a little bit of everywhere, so I think that he gets a step up in competition next. By the way, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you all haven't. Tim Traver sends a super chat and says, I'm staying peaceful or in my peaceful home and listening to Fightful Podcast. Hey, we appreciate you, man. I can't tell you how important that is to us that you all are doing that. Thank you so much. Billy Quarantillo. Whoo, boy. So this Spike Carlisle fight was something. Spike Carlisle comes jetting out and hits Quarantillo with the big boot, the old Yakuza kick. But the end of this round is particularly hilarious. Spike Carlisle just gets up with 5 seconds left in the round, turns around and walks away like, round's over. But the round wasn't over. And good on Billy Quarantillo. Now, it looked like Carlisle took it very lightly. Like he knew, almost like he saw it coming and it was kind of funny. But Billy Quarantillo slugged him. And quite frankly, I thought that was a stupid-ass thing to do. Stupid thing to do. I changed my pick from the prediction show to the actual pick'em show. Just a reminder, we do a pick'em on Fightful every single show ahead of time for UFC. And you all go to the discus boards, you make your picks, yada, yada. Went 4-1 tonight. Ya boy! But I switched it up. I think Quarantillo's experience and his hot streak of late really paid off for him, and it did. And I'm ready to see more of him. He's 2-0 in the UFC, and that win over Carlisle is a good one. He won on Contender Series against, I think it was Camilla Kirk, I think it was. We've seen him do a little bit of everything. Go to the scorecards, get a ref stoppage, TKOs. We've seen him make people retire on the stool. When I see people able to finish other fighters in a bevy of ways, that leads me to be a little more optimistic about their future. I'm not optimistic about Augusto Sakai and Blagoy Ivanov. Man, you got to stop making these fringe top 15 heavyweight fights co-main events. And Blagoy Ivanov used to be one of my favorite heavyweight fighters in the world. Now I dread watching the man fight. I dread watching the man fight. And so help me God, if they put him against Andrei Arlovsky next, I'm going to scream. Not a good fight, but Augusto Sakai is now 4-0 in the UFC, and you cannot ignore that. You cannot ignore him going 4-0 in the UFC. He was 4-1-1 in Bellator. 4-1-1. And then hit the bricks and went and fought in, where did he fight at? I think he fought in Brazil somewhere. That is outstanding to have that body of work. And I'm sorry, even despite all the things I say about Ivanov being boring, it ain't an accident when you beat Blagoy Ivanov. You got to be real good. You got to be real good to beat Marcin Tybura. He's got to win over Andrei Arlovsky. Man, that's a hell of a resume this early on. And you look back, the guy went to a split decision with Chet Congo, and I didn't think that he won that fight. I thought Chet Congo won that fight. But I felt that Augusto Sakai should have won his fight against Dan Charles. We should be looking at a guy who's 16-1 right now, with his only loss being to Chet Congo. Chet Congo, mind you, despite the fact that he's 45 right now, is on the hottest run of his career. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Augusto Sakai, you got to give him a top 10 guy now, in my opinion. I wouldn't give Tyron Woodley a top 10 guy. I don't want to say he's cooked. I didn't know why anybody could feel comfortable putting Tyron Woodley over Gilbert Burns in this situation. Woodley showed nothing in the Kamaru Usman fight. He did show something in the Darren Till fight. That Darren Till fight was in 2018. Before that, he took a full year off. The Damian Maia fight left a lot to be desired. His inactivity concerned me. He got back in there and he had a terrible performance against Kamaru Usman. Then he waited almost 16 months and came back and fought Gilbert Burns. Man, that doesn't spell good for him. Gilbert Burns dropped him right out of the gate, and Gilbert Burns jumped back up to welterweight and has gone 4-0. Beat Gunnar Nelson, Damian Maia, Tyron Woodley. Hot damn. Now, this wasn't a guy that was just like forced up. Like, oh my God, I'm doing so terrible at lightweight. No. He had won 4 of his last 5 fights at lightweight. And then he beats the brakes off of Tyron Woodley. Beat the brakes off the man. So I'm ready to see Gilbert Burns taking on more top guys. How much more top can it get? I mean, here's the situation. Colby Covington ain't getting a title shot. Masvidal probably ain't getting a title shot. Is it going to be Leon Edwards? You think he's getting a title shot? Probably would be okay with that. I would be. Gilbert Burns or Leon Edwards? Sure. It's just everybody's in limbo right now. What's Khabib gonna do? What's Conor gonna do? What's Masvidal gonna do? Is Nate gonna show up anywhere? At some point, you gotta book them all. Just like I booked you all to join me on this show. Thank you all so much. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I will have a preview for this weekend's upcoming UFC 250. It's a weird card, man. I am excited to watch Amanda Nunes fight, even though I think she's going to beat the brakes off Felicia Spencer. To me, I'm excited to watch Amanda Nunes fight, just like I was excited to watch Anderson Silva fight James Irvin. I felt like I was watching the best in the world do it. Sun Sao and Garbrandt is on this show. I like that. Aljamain Sterling and Corey Sandhagen's on this show. I think this should probably be the bantamweight title fight. But otherwise, this looks like a pretty decent show. You have Stamen and Kelleher. You got Ian Heinisch and Mearshart, which is all right. Eddie Wineland and Sean O'Malley's a good fight, but it's a strong top 3. Strong top 3 especially. And I hope you guys will join us for that. Until next time, visit FightfulMMA.com. David Tees does some great work there for us. We're out.